Hi, I'm Laura Rogers, and this is SharePoint Power Hour. This is a show that we do. It's about SharePoint and Office 365. Power Hour is every Wednesday at 11 Central, just live streaming. If you are watching this recorded and you would like to know how to watch the live ones, we have a channel on YouTube, SharePoint RAX, and all you have to do is just show up at that channel at 11 Central and on Wednesdays, and it will show that there's a live show going on. So Power Hour is all about things that you can do in SharePoint and Office 365 without having to write code, without having to do super hardcore server admin stuff. It's just pretty much anything else. A lot of just sort of business users targeted here. And we've been doing this show for, almost a couple of years now. So on that same YouTube channel, there's a whole playlist of all, this is the 90th episode, so there's a whole playlist of all the episodes. You can go through and look at those. And I'm Laura Rogers, I'm a Microsoft MVP. This is my team at Rackspace Hosting. We're SharePoint consultants. And today's demo is going to be SharePoint Alerts, and I'll be doing that demo, but let's go through and just have everybody introduce themselves. So let's go Ryan, then Stephen, then Tanya, then Tavis.
Hi everybody, I'm Ryan Keller. I'm based out of Colorado, northern Colorado area, and my role on the team is the branding guy. So I make SharePoint look nice, do all kinds of fancy stuff with changing how SharePoint looks out of the box into something that our customers like.
Stephen.
Hi, I'm Stephen Wilson. I am on the business solutions team as well. I do a lot of our kind of admin, migration stuff, help out users when they first get into SharePoint, teach our admin class. So hopefully some of the people who are attending right now are the people that I told about our admin or about our Power Hour during our admin class, because when they have questions that kind of range more into the user space of things, there's a ton of stuff out there. Like Laura said, we have like 80 episodes of this, and then we have some other stuff at the SharePoint RAX site as well.
Tanya.
Hi, I'm Tanya Kaiser, and I'm actually based in San Antonio, Texas, so I work out of Rackspace headquarters, which we call the castle. Can sometimes get a bit noisy behind me. That's just the way the castle works, and I actually manage our internal SharePoint environment here at Rackspace. So my customers happen to be my fellow employees, or Rackers as we call them, but really all of the stuff that we talk about here in Power Hour, all the out-of-the-box components, is exactly what I help Rackers with every day.
And I am Tavis Level. I am also on the business solutions team, and I am the business intelligence developer on the team. So I deal with all things reporting and dashboard, like reporting services, Excel services, Performance Point, Power Pivot, all that good stuff.
Okay, Joelle, we'll let you go.
We can't there we go.
Oh, there we go.
I know. So hi, I'm Joelle Farley. I'm based out of Atlanta, Georgia, and I am a SharePoint consultant on our team. And I work with a lot of different clients. Right now I'm actually working with quite a few clients in Atlanta, it seems, so that's kind of neat. And I'm looking forward to the session. Thanks.
All right, let's see. Again, I'm Laura Rogers. I'm manager of the SharePoint consultants at Rackspace Hosting. Like Stephen said, we actually do teach some SharePoint training classes. So if you go to sharepoint.rackspace.com/training, I'm teaching a SharePoint 2013 Power User class, which applies to Office 365 also, all week next week. So I actually won't be in Power Hour because of that. And Stephen teaches an admin class, and Tavis teaches an SSRS class. So those are all out there. All right, so let me go ahead and start my little alerts presentation for today. And this is really basic stuff, so this is mostly for people who are fairly new to SharePoint. You're going to learn a couple of little tips and tricks here and there, but it's mostly just super basic. So let's go to the screen. Okay, so you guys can see my presentation, right?
Yep.
Okay, so alerts in SharePoint and Office 365. So here's the agenda. We're going to talk about what in the heck are alerts, what can you create alerts on, creating alerts for other people, modifying and managing alerts, and then admin of other people's alerts. And I just created this, as usual with Power Hour, I just created this slide deck this morning. So it's not exactly the most beautiful thing, but at least it's got, kind of keeps things organized. So. All right, so what are alerts? Alerts are just email notifications to help you just keep up to date with what's going on your company's SharePoint site. You don't have to remember to go check SharePoint every morning to see what's going on or what's changed. Just create alerts so you'll get those notifications automatically. So users can create and manage their own alerts, and also admins can create alerts for other people and delete alerts for other people. And in the ribbon, where are alerts? If you're on a list or library, you go to the list or library tab and click Alert Me to create alerts for that whole list or library. And then if you want to create you go to the Items or Files tab, you can click Alert Me to create alerts for specific folders or items. And I'm going to go into all this. All right, let me put up I forgot to mention the Q&A. Sorry about that. So we do have a Q&A panel. That's kind of one of the whole reasons we do this live, so that we can make this interactive and answer your questions and things like that. So if you're watching this on YouTube right now, you can click the little yellow link that takes you over to the Google Hangout. Once you're on the Google Hangout, then you're going to see, by default, you're going to see a little panel on the right that's got like this thing called Showcase, which is just links that we share during the presentation. And then you're also going to have a little icon towards the top right that's got a bunch of little squares on it. That's what lets you switch between apps. So you can switch over to the Q&A app, and that's where you can ask questions or just say hello. So I encourage all of you to, 17 of you, to pop in there and make sure you can find it and say hello. And just remember that you can just ask questions as I'm going. And I'm looking forward to getting those. All right, so what can you create alerts on? A list, a library, a file in a library, an item in a list, a folder, and even a view. So can you create an alert for absolutely everything in a whole site? No, not at all at once. You do this at these levels, like the list or library level is sort of the highest level you can go create an alert. All right, so I'm going to reference kind of these instructions later for this creating a filtered view. But I'm going to go ahead. I just kind of put this on the slide decks. I wrote this blog post a long time ago. I wrote this back in, it was like the second or third blog post I ever wrote, I think, back in SharePoint 2007. So this is something you've been able to do a really long time, and we have another whole slide about that. All right, so alerts are alerts based on filtered views. So you can create if you've created a filtered view on your list or library, you'll have this extra option. I think I skipped a slide. Do you see something? No, I didn't. I'm sorry. This is what I need. This is what I meant to go to first. That's what I get for creating the slide deck right before the presentation. Okay, I'll do this one, and then I'll go to the one I was showing you a second ago. All right, when I create an alert, so I go to a list or library or item, and I decide to create an alert on that item to be notified about it. This is the interface that you get. So what a lot of people do is they just leave all the defaults here, and and then just click OK. But there's so many different things that you can change and tweak in here. So you can actually call this alert whatever you want to, and this will show in the emails that you receive. So this will help you to let yourself know just something more specific about what the alert is. And you know, think about maybe creating an alert called, and you could name it New Announcements maybe, and you could just say alert me only when new items are added. Separately, keep in mind that you can create more than one alert on any one list or library. So you don't have to just say alert me about all changes if you want to know about new things and deleted things. You can create an alert called you can call it New Announcements, be notified about new things that get added to that list. And separately, you can go create another alert and call it Deleted Announcements and let you know when things get deleted. So just kind of keep that in mind. Like, you don't always have to be notified about all changes if you don't want to know when every single thing gets changed in here. So send alerts to, now I'm an admin on this particular site that I did the screenshots on. So most end users are just going to have their own name in there. But send alerts to, if you're an admin, I'll talk a little bit more about that too in a minute. you can create alerts for other people. For delivery method, it's email. I don't think that Office 365 has this SMS ability. I kind of Googled it a little, or Binged it a little bit right before this to kind of see if there was any information about that, and everything I found just said, hey, it never has actually been turned on or functioned in Office 365. For on-premises, apparently your server admin would have to set up a SMS gateway, which is a very server admin-y thing. I don't know if any of you guys have ever done this, to be able to connect like a phone system to SharePoint. Does that sound right, Stephen? Yeah? Okay.
Yes, so you can set up a gateway. You have to have a third-party service that you can tie into SharePoint so that you can send text messages through that service to your phone, like in your contact information.
Very cool. All right. So change type is going to be, like I said, absolutely everything, or just new items, just existing items being modified, or just items being deleted. And then send alert for alert me when these types of changes. So with anything changes, I don't want to know if I changed something, right? Because I changed it. I know that I changed it. So you can just say, let me know when someone else changes something in this list. And all this stuff says announcement here because I'm creating my alert on an announcements list. You could say someone else changes an announcement that I created. Someone else changes an announcement that I was the last one to modify. So it just kind of lets you keep tabs on what's going on with things that that you've created. And this one looks like this is specific to an announcement list. An announcement with an expiration date is added or changed. So if it has a date in the expiration date field, it gets added or changed. So you'll find, I'm going to go over another one that's got something more specific in it like this, but you'll find little differences down here in some of the different specific types of lists and libraries too. We'll go look at like tasks and calendars and stuff and see what the differences are. When to send alerts. Again, if you're getting too many alerts when you get notified immediately when people change things, you can just get a daily summary. If you pick daily summary, it'll just prompt you for what time of day do you want to receive that notification. And then weekly summary is going to let you pick from what day of the week and what time you want to receive your weekly summary. And so the immediate notification is just going to have information about a single item, and it's just going to have the information that was changed in that item and who changed it and when they changed it and all the, it's going to have a lot of metadata in there. And then the daily summary is going to be, and the weekly summary are both going to be lists of a bunch of different things and dates and who changed them and when they changed it and what they changed. So there's going to be a lot of information in all those. All right, so let's see. Oh, let me go back. Previous slide. Okay, so this one, now I mentioned that you could create an alert based on a view. So how do you do that? It has to be a filtered view. So if your list or library does not have any views that you've created a filter on, you will not see this option here. You have to create the filtered view first. So for example, in this one, and I'm going to go do demos too, but in this one I had a SharePoint library, and it's got like files having to do with customers, and one of the customers' names is AdventureWorks. So I created a filtered view, and I said basically, the file name contains the word AdventureWorks, and so it's a filtered view only showing things related to that one customer. And so you can have, someone changes something that's in that view, or you can have your view in your list or library like My Documents that show just documents that you've created or modified, and then you could just get a notification about things that are in your My Documents. I guess that would be similar to being notified about things that someone changes that you had last changed or modified to. All right, so this drop down right here is only going to show filtered views. So you're not going to see every single view in your list or library here, just the ones that are filtered. Do y'all hopefully you all understand what filtered views are. It's just a setting when you're creating a view in a list or library that for you to filter it down to a specific subset of information. All right, so that's a really cool little tidbit there that not many people have noticed. All right, so create alert for other people. In the little send alerts to box that we were looking at, end users can create alerts for themselves. admins can put as many people and group names in here as they want to. So to be able to do this, just for end users to be able to create alerts, this is going to have the create alerts permission level, not permission level, but permission. So by default, like people who are contributors and readers, they can create alerts for themselves. If you need to be able to create alerts for other people, you're going to need to have manage alerts in your permissions for whatever permission you have on that site. So for example, like people who have full control definitely have manage alerts. You could, we've talked a bit about permissions in here before, you could technically create your own custom permission level, and as long as you check the box for manage alerts in that custom permission level, those people would be able to manage everyone's alerts, and they'd be able to create alerts for other people besides themselves. So who can you, when you're creating alerts for other people, who can you create alerts for? Individuals. You can put SharePoint groups in here. You can even use email-enabled Active Directory security groups. You cannot create, put an Exchange distribution list in here. Can't do that. So what we do a lot of the times is if there is an Exchange distribution list of people that needs to be able to be used in here, we'll have to go talk to the AD people, Active Directory people, and the Exchange people, and basically get them to either try and convert the existing distribution list to be an AD group, or just create a new AD group and delete the old distribution list. And an AD group that's email enabled will still show up in your directory, like when people are, in your directory in Outlook for people to send emails to. So if you want to be able to use those in your organization, it might be a good practice to just go ahead and create those email-enabled security groups for groups of people instead of just distribution lists. So Stephen, and like any of you in here, can you think of like any reason not to do that? Is it just kind of security purposes not to create a bunch of AD groups? Is there any reason not that you wouldn't want to do that?
I mean, other than the management of it, I mean, a lot of times, you want to try and reuse groups as much as possible. So hopefully you already have some sort of representative group. So like if you want to send it to all the HR people, there's probably already an HR group or something. So you should really look for something that already exists and is already maintained, because sometimes it's hard to get AD people to constantly update a bunch of different groups that you've created just for SharePoint purposes. So as much as possible, try and reuse something that exists if you can.
And keep in mind that these that Active Directory email-enabled Active Directory groups can be used for permissions too. Well, regular secure AD groups can be used for permissions as well, but Active Directory email-enabled ones are going to be the ones that you can send alerts to. Okay, so what's going to happen right when you create a new alert? All the people that you put in the send alerts to box are going to immediately get a brand new email saying that alert was created for them. From that point on, they can manage the alert themselves. If they're an individual or a SharePoint group, that alert is then, okay, let them in. Sorry, the maids are here. Awesome. They didn't call me and let me know they were coming. All right, so they can manage that alert from themselves from that point on, unless it's an AD group. Because if it's an AD group, it's just a single alert that's going to that group of people, and that single alert is not going to be something that individuals are going to get to manage. But when they go out to individuals or SharePoint groups, then people are going to have a button like to go modify your own alerts, and then they'll actually be able to go manage those or go delete them if they want to sort of unsubscribe, then they'll be able to do that. But if you want to force people to get an alert and not let them go remove it or anything, then an AD group is what you could use for that. Cool. All right. Okay, so managing and modifying alerts. The little Alert Me drop-down box lets you manage my alerts from here. So there are several different ways to do this. So when you get the alert, it's going to have several little different links at the top of it. It's going to have the name of the SharePoint site, just different hyperlinks. It's going to have the link to go modify your own alert settings from the alert itself. And it's going to have the name of the item if you want to click to go directly to it, and it's going to have the name of the list or library to go straight to it, and it's even going to have a little mobile view link. So if you're on a phone reading the alert, you can go straight to the mobile view of that item. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this happen as a SharePoint manager. This used to happen to me a lot, where users would create an alert, and then they'll decide that they're getting too many emails, and then they'll go back and they'll click create an alert, and they'll do the same thing. What they're really trying to do is modify an existing alert, but they'll just keep creating a new alert over and over, and then they're just getting like triple the emails that they were getting before. Has anybody seen this happen? And then they call you up saying, "Wow, SharePoint's sending me all this crap. What do I do?" So that's because they created new alerts over and over, and they didn't read the email that they received that says modify my alert settings right here. It says it in the email, and it says manage my alerts right there in the drop-down box. So in previous versions of SharePoint, this little manage my alerts thing was not right here, so it made it a little more confusing. It was only in the email. All right, so they can go, when they go click to manage their alerts, this is where me as an end user, I can see my own alerts, and they're grouped by how the frequency is that I'm receiving the alerts. All right, so I've got, these are ones that I'm receiving immediately for my task announcements. These are ones I'm receiving daily, as like a daily summary. And as an end user, I can go click on one and go modify it. And the interface looks just like it did when I created it, or I can just check the boxes and go delete different alerts if I want to, if I'm getting too many, or I can go just tweak them. If I clicked add alert from here, it would actually prompt me to select what list or library on that site I want to create alert for, and then it would take me to that same create an alert interface. Let's see, if you, you can go to Outlook. So any end user, I don't know if you'll ever tried this, but you can go to Outlook and you can see all of your alerts. So right now, this interface over here on the right side of the screen is just for one site. So it's going to show me just my alerts for all the lists and libraries for that one site that I'm on. If you want to be able to see all of your alerts for every single SharePoint site and environment that you've created alerts for, you can actually do that from within Outlook. So if you go to Outlook, has anybody ever done this? Is this cool? Is this exciting? A lot of times when I show people this, they didn't realize it was there. If you click the rules drop down, there's a little button that says manage rules and alerts, and there's a tab that says manage alerts. So I can go, let's see, I just pulled mine up on my own Outlook here. So this is showing me some of this stuff I can't get to because I'm not on the VPN, like the Rackspace stuff. But it's showing me all these alerts, like this is from my blog that I created to let me know when people add comments. This is letting me know about a couple of just different test sites that I have. So I can go into any one of these alerts and go, I can create a new one from here, but I can go to the alert properties, and when I click to modify the alert, it's going to take me to that same web interface that I had on the slide over here. And the alerts management page is going to take me, you can see it's taking me to that SharePoint site, to the little modify my alerts page. Pretty neat? All right. Let me go close Outlook again. All right, so that's how you can go manage alerts. If you're an admin, you can go admin other people's alerts. You can go to settings, you go to site settings on that site and choose user alerts. It's in the site administration section. And then you can pick a user. So by default, it's not going to show anything on that screen until you pick a user. So you have to pick a user from the drop down and click update, and then all that user's alerts are going to show on the screen. You can delete them. As an admin, you can delete them, but you can't go, it's not going to let you go edit an alert and just like change some of the settings in it. You delete them or nothing. So maybe if they are having problems with it, you can go delete it for them, and then they can go recreate a new one and do something differently. But I usually recommend, as an admin, training the users how to do this for themselves, so you don't, so you're not always the one stuck doing it for them, and for them, empower them and let them know how they can do it. In this drop-down box, if you don't see, you're only going to see really a handful of users here. If you don't see a user's name in that drop-down, it means they don't have any alerts on that site. So if I created an alert, even for a SharePoint group, it will have already split out the group into all the individual people, so it's not going to show the group name in the drop-down. It's going to show all the individuals' names. And you would pick an individual and then go edit that person's alerts. All right, so here's a little bonus. This is This is what, if I'm specifically in a task list, this is what the task alerts are going to look like. Alert me when anything changes. Hold on real quick. Let me make sure my children let the maid. I said, never mind, it wasn't the maids, it was the mailman. You never know what's going on around here. All right. So for a task list, you can look, it's got all these very specific things around tasks. Isn't this cool? So I can go, a task is assigned to me, a task becomes complete, a high priority task changes. So those three are just specific to task list. And then of course task lists already have some filtered views in them by default. So you're going to see those down here with the views around alerts around filtered views that I mentioned before. Let's see, Eric says, is there a way for the site owner to get a list of all users with alerts on the site other than transcribing the names shown in the drop-down? Ooh, that's a great question. All I know of is all the lists shown in the drop-down. Does anybody else in this room know? That's a great question, though. No? They're shaking their heads. Yeah, I think that to do anything more specific, Eric, you'd probably have to do something with like a web service or custom code. Yeah. Let's see. So again, those are specific to tasks, and then basically the whole rest of this is going to be a demo. So I'll go to my site here. All right, so I'm on my SharePoint site, and I've got a document library. So what I've done is I create, let's go ahead and go to my customer files document library. All right, so I can tell that I've got some folders in here. I've got some different views in here. I've got this specific view that I mentioned to you that's filtered to only show AdventureWorks stuff. So let's talk about alerts now. So I'll go ahead, if I want to create an alert for everything in the whole library, I go to the Library tab and I choose Alert Me and say Set an Alert on this library. And then this is that interface I referred to. I'll just say New Customer Files, and then new items are added. And this stuff that has to do with changes is not going to apply to this because it's just new items. So I'll be notified immediately for that. And then I've got my little, this is in Office 365 that I'm doing this, but like I mentioned in the little abstract, this applies to all versions of SharePoint, all. So Office 365, SharePoint 2007, 2010, 2013, it's all the same. So now it says, I get an email, it says you have successfully created an alert for new customer files. Again, if you do this for other people, they might be surprised when they get this email. It might be, so keep that in mind if you're going to create one of these for like the entire company or something. And there's no way to make it not send this notification email. It says this alert has been added, and here immediately here's how to go, basically go to modify my alert screen. So that's what they get when they create one, or when you create one for them. And then I'll go ahead and do another one just for fun. I'll say set an alert on this library, and I'll say I want to go create an alert for Joelle and Stephen. And I want to email them when someone else changes a document that they last created. So this applies to them, though. This doesn't apply to me. And then I'll just say daily summary. And again, remember, I only have one filtered view, so that's why that's the only one showing in that drop-down. All right, so it's going to notify them about all changes when other people change things that they created. And then they're going to get an email. Now, I didn't change the alert title. I should have changed the alert title to make it more descriptive as to what the alert was, because it wasn't about every document. So I can't go manage my alert. So I created that for other people. I created that for them. So once I create it, I cannot go like change the settings in their alert. So these are just my alerts that I see here. So I have new customer files. This is the one that I created for myself, and I can go change or delete it from here. And I'll show you how to go see the other alerts that I created for them. So I'll go to my site settings, and go to user alerts. So now it's going to show all three of us in here as having alerts. Those login names are so ugly, man. So I'll go pick Steven, and now I can't go edit the one I just created for him. So you might want to just like not screw that up when you create it like I did. But I can go delete it. And I don't think he's going to get a notification email when I delete his alert. All right, so how am I able to go like create alerts and delete them and things like that? How do we know about those permissions? Let's see, Eric has a question. He says, do I have any tips or tricks on customizing appearance, formatting, and resulting alert emails? No, there's not a way to do that. If your alerts don't look the way you want them to look, then I would recommend not doing alerts and doing workflow. Just do workflow emails. Sorry. And we'll go into what the emails look like when you get an alert in a second too. All right, so now I deleted his alert. I'll go show you the permissions, and then we'll go look at the alerts themselves too. Alrighty, so go to Site Settings, and I have to be, let's see, I'll go to Site Permissions. I need to be at the top, the root level of my site collection. So I'm not sure, you have to at least have full control at this root level to be able to even go to permission levels. But I have to go to permission levels to be able to just kind of see what I'm seeing, to show you what, how do you know who can create alerts and who can manage alerts. All right, so when I go look at full control, I can see that anyone with full control has manage alerts in here. They have, of course, full control. They can do everything, but there's manage alerts, and then there's also create alerts just at the content level. So create alerts for just items and lists and libraries. All right, so how do I know like these people with lower levels of access? What can they do? People who have read permissions can create alerts. So people who have, now if you have a specific site or specific list where you don't want people with read permissions to create alerts, because then they might get a lot of information about items in that list that you can't control and you don't want them to see, like fields maybe that you don't want them to see, then you'd have to like maybe create a custom permission level that says like read can't create alerts or something like that, and you'd have to uncheck that box. So you don't want to edit the default permission level, but you want to go copy a permission level when you need to do something specific like that. But just remember that when you get the alert, it's going to have a whole bunch of just whatever fields it feels like giving them in that alert email. So you can't really control what data values it shows in there. Just think about like custom business solutions and situations where you might have fields in there that you're tightly controlling that you don't want them to see, like in forms and things like that. All right, so read, contribute, pretty much all those can create alerts. Let's see, who can manage alerts? Can designers manage alerts? Let's see. No. So by default, with the default permission levels, only full control can manage alerts, but you can go create a custom permission level or give another. I don't recommend changing the default ones, but whoever has manage alerts, those are the ones that are going to be able to create them for other people. All right, so now I'll go to my have a little announcements list, and I'll go add a new announcement. And I'll go edit an announcement. Let's see, new, sorry, on my keyboard. And I'm pretty sure it's even going to have bold and colors and stuff like that you can do in here that will show in the email. I just wrote a blog post a couple of weeks ago about the concept of blog posts in SharePoint, how if you create an alert on a post list, a list of all the blog posts in a SharePoint blog site, when you receive the alert email, it will be very pretty and it will have that full blog post. It will look just like a pretty customer newsletter. So I wrote a blog post on how to have your customer newsletters just done in SharePoint. I don't know if one of y'all has time to go find that link. I might find it in a few minutes. So that's my test announcements, and I'll just click Save. Now, I think so. That usually, sometimes it'll take a minute to receive the email whenever you get the new, you're supposed to get the alert. So, but one thing I can go double check what alert I have created on the announcements list. I know I created one, so announcements, I'm going to get it immediately for basically anything. So that's new and changes and everything. So I just created a new announcement. Now I'm going to go edit an existing announcement, and we'll see what that one looks like. So I'll go edit the company policies one. I'll put the word test here, and this is red. I'm not very creative, and I'll put that as just some red text that I'm adding in here, and I'll add an expiration date. All right, so I added one and I edited one. So let's go see what my email looks like. Okay, so now this is what my email looks like when I got a new item got added. So notice even some like enterprise keywords was a field that I had added later that's not turned on in announcements list by default, but it's showing in there. And let's see. Well, while we're waiting for that other just modified item email, let's go over to my documents library. Let's see, I've got a policies document library. And we're going to look at kind of this concept of all this other metadata that exists in this policies library. So what I'm going to do is I'll go create an alert, and I'm just going to do for changes. Things get changes. Things get changed. Someone else changes a document. Actually, I'm the one who did all these, so I wouldn't get anything if I chose someone else. So I'll just do all changes. This is my own little test site, so I'm the one that's going to get all those. All right, so I just created an alert, and I got an email for the alert creation. Those are actually faster than the alert sort of notifications that you're going to get, by the way. Okay, so I'm going to go to jury duty, this little Word document, and I'm going to edit the properties of it, which is the metadata, and I'll go change one of these date fields. So I'll just change this date to like 3/5, like that. And Tavis, that's your policy, by the way. You own that. You're in charge of the jury duty policy. All right, so let's go check out my email. So here's the one that says I successfully created an alert on the team site. I still didn't get the one about editing the announcement yet. So you need to, again, you need to give it, this actually runs via timer job, right, Stephen? So you need to usually give it a couple of minutes to receive those. So I created an alert on that policies library, and then I went and immediately modified something so that I should be getting the alert about the announcement, and I should be getting the alert about the policy that I modified. So so you admin guys, and especially Stephen, do you know off the top of your head what that timer job is called and what the default frequency is?
I think the default frequency is like every minute, but I can't remember what the name of it is offhand.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably called like alerts or something. I don't know. I'm on Office 365. I don't have my VM turned on right now. All right, so just kind of keep in mind when you're creating alerts for other people that they're going to get all these emails about it. And the thing about alerts is it's a training thing sometimes, because you don't want to necessarily go bonkers and create a bunch of stuff for other people that they might not necessarily be interested in, but you don't want people to feel like they don't know what's going on with the files in the SharePoint site. So it's more of a sort of education to let them know that they can, whatever they're interested in, they can be alerted on. So let's go into a couple of the other ways of creating alerts. So for example, customer files. So I showed you how I could create a filtered view that says basically like file name is equal to AdventureWorks, or the enterprise keywords equals AdventureWorks, and it's going to show me all the AdventureWorks customers. I thought this was interesting, actually, by the way. Let me show you my little filter in my filtered view. So AdventureWorks is just one of multiple enterprise keywords you could pick from, but enterprise keywords I put is equal to AdventureWorks. So notice that even though I put is equal to, it's still showing me things that have other things other than AdventureWorks. So that's kind of nice. So if you're using enterprise keywords, which is it's a setting that you turn on in your list or library, if you're using those, you can say is equal to, and it will still show other stuff in here. All right, so if I'm not doing it by metadata, and if I have a bunch of folders, and I'm only interested in stuff in the AdventureWorks files folder, I can go create an alert right there. So unfortunately, alerts is not here on the little drop down, but I have to go to the Files tab up here. So I can say alert me, set an alert on this document. It says document, but it's a folder. And it's supposed to alert me. I'll just say customer. See, it says customer files : AdventureWorks. So that's the name of the folder. So it's supposed to let me know about anything changing in that folder. So let's go ahead and we'll test that too, just for fun. Now, if you want to go get down to the individual file level, I'll just say AdventureWorks contract. No, actually, I'm going to do AdventureWorks project presentation. And again, I can go to the Files tab and alert me about that one document. So I only want to know about things going on with that one document, not everything in the whole library. And so this screen looks a little bit different. It's got a little bit less information on it when you're doing a single item or a single document. But notice that it automatically puts your title as it's got the name of the file in it. So I can say, just let me know if someone else changes this one document or any changes immediately. Okay. Let's go check the mail over here. Oh, cool. All right. So look how cool this is. It shows me exactly what was changed. See, it shows me who changed it. See, so it says when they changed it right here. And it shows me exactly what the data used to be and what it is now. This is, I did a whole other Power Hour about this. Remember we were talking about how people like to know when a specific field gets changed, and I did a whole Power Hour on like doing a workflow to let you know about a specific field getting modified and what it used to be and what it is now. Well, this is so funny that, you know, out of the box alerts, you can't be notified about just a specific field changing. It's got to be like just something was changed in the metadata of that item, but at least it shows you what the old value used to be and what the new value is. So I think that's kind of nice. And it shows you exactly what they edited with all your metadata. So this is also, see, this is another one that I edited. I edited an alert. So it said change it to company policies test. It says the word edited next to everything I edited, so I didn't edit the keywords here. And it is even showing the colors in here. All right, so and this is, it shows this is edited too. And this is the new value. It didn't have a value before. All right, and then this is a couple of other alerts that I created. So let's see, I created an alert for things in the AdventureWorks files folder, and I created an alert for that one specific item. So let's go, I'm going to go edit. I'm not going to open up an entire document, but I'm going to go edit the properties of it. And I'm also going to go edit this one file. And of course I could have clicked edit properties in the ribbon too. Any questions as we're going? Slides. I just changed it from slide to slides. Okay, so now I'll go back and double check over here. I haven't got anything yet. But so I showed you how to go create an alert on a folder, how to create an alert on an individual item, how to create an alert on a view, and then, ooh, this looks different. Interesting. So this ribbon, look what they did. This is new. So when you have a single item selected, I think this is new, this little more button. So if users don't know to go to the ribbon up here, if you're just like this, clicking on an item, look at that, you get more, and then it's got all the information about that item you selected. Interesting. So if I don't have an item selected, I don't have the more button. Huh. Okay, you learned Office 365. It's just new things just pop up. You never know, right? Okay, so somebody was asking about being able to customize the alerts. You can't customize them. So if you need to be able to do that, if you need to have sort of tightly controlled what they look like and what they say in them, that's where you would go to workflows, and you would go crack open SharePoint Designer and create create workflows that send an email to certain people when an item gets added or changed, and then you can completely customize what the email looks like and what it says and what fields it has in it. And then if you really want to really tightly control it, you could take away the ability for them to create alerts so that they are only going to get the workflow emails. So that's pretty drastic, but you can do that. Okay, look at that. I got some more emails. Okay, so here is the one that I edited. So this, I can tell by the name of the alert, Customer Files, AdventureWorks Files. This is the one that, let's see, is this the one that no. AW Project Presentation is the one that I created an individual alert for. And then Customer Files, AdventureWorks Files is the folder that I created an alert on. So Customer Files, AdventureWorks Files, I added in, let's see, now I'm confusing myself. Okay, this is one that I edited. Okay, this is the one that was in the folder. So it was in the AdventureWorks folder. So it's called New Microsoft Word Document, and I edited that. So again, it applies to anything in the folder, and I can go straight to that library or anything from here. And then the other alert that I got was, so this AW Project Presentation, and that was the alert, I can tell by the title, AW Project Presentation was the alert that I created on that specific item, and I can see when it was edited. And then I got 2 alerts. Y'all know why I got 2 alerts on that one? Because I created an alert for the whole folder, so anything in it, and I created a separate alert for that one specific file. So now for that one file, I'm always going to get 2 alerts because it happens to fall into that same folder. Tanya, I'm going to put you on the spot. As a, kind of managing the SharePoint that we use internally, do you get a lot of people asking questions about alerts, and do you think they understand them, or what are some common confusion points, do you know?
Yeah, we get quite a few questions, and I actually covered this in one of our internal SharePoint user groups. And kind of the main thing that I remind people of is that, users do have full control over, modifying or setting up their alerts either through the Outlook client or by going to the SharePoint site. And it's never a question of, I'm getting these emails and I don't know where they're coming from, because there's a link to the SharePoint site in there. But one thing that I stress to site owners and site admins, that if they do have users who seem a little bit stuck about their alerts or are constantly going to them for, can you email me this document, can you let me know when it's changed, that's a perfect use case for alerts. I caution, site owners and admins to set up alerts, kind of the same thing that you said earlier. People sometimes get surprised, like, why was this alert sent, where are these emails coming from? But it's definitely a great tool that owners and admins can use, especially in those situations where they're making that shift to SharePoint and there was some document or some update that they were emailing out, weekly or monthly or whatever the case may be. They can automate that by putting those documents on SharePoint and then just having people create alerts, and then they'll be notified anytime it's changed.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. I did a power hour, I think about a month ago, with just basic list functionality, and we talked about that concept of turning on content approval on a list or library, and then just a super basic approval, just turn on alerts to get notified when things get added or changed, and then you get the alert, you go, and then you go approve or reject. So it's pretty simple. Another thing that we can look at is I want to go look at sort of some different types of lists, and I'm kind of just discovering this as we go. We've got like 10 minutes left, and just how different the alerts look for different types, like using different sort of templates for lists and libraries. So it looks like this one, it doesn't really have, it just has the someone else. It doesn't really have anything specific that looks specific to discussion boards, so that's discussion boards. We're going to go to a calendar. I showed you the screenshot of the task list already. We're going to go to a calendar and see what that one looks like. Oh, that's an interesting one. Look at that. The time or location of an event changes. So that's very specific. That's only going to notify me about those specific fields being modified. So that's pretty cool. So that's one that's specific to calendars, the time or location of an event. So I already did tasks, already looked at discussions. Let's go look at, I'm going to go do like an all-site content and see what other kind of maybe I have some contacts in here. I can go just create a contact list in here. Yeah, that's what I'll do. All right, add an app. Contacts. I hate scrolling through here. It's so hard to read with all the little boxes. There we go. Contacts. I might have already had one in there in my all-site content. It's just hard to be able to tell. All right. I go to my list. I go to my list tab, and I choose Alert Me. And let's see what contacts have. Nothing. Nothing special about contacts. What other kind of list can we look at, y'all? Let's see. Add an app. Those are sort of the basic ones. Announcements, we looked at that one. That one had something specific about an expiration date. An announcement with an expiration date changes. We had that. Let's go look at links. And while I'm doing this, you guys, I'm just killing the last 10 minutes. Feel free to ask questions in the Q&A. Ooh, I've already got one. So let's see. I'll call it hyperlinks. Yes, maybe I already have one. Whatever, it's just a test site. Okay, I go to my...
By the way, that timer job was the immediate alerts timer job. It runs every 5 minutes by default. It says immediate, but it does immediate and scheduled.
Nice. Nothing specific about links. Let's see. Custom lists are certainly not going to have anything specific to them because they have no idea what you're going to put in your custom lists. I think I have a Contoso checks. That's a form library. So let's see if there's something specific to InfoPath forms. I doubt it. No, same. Just someone else changes. Someone else changes. Yeah. Nothing specific about those. There's promoted links. I seriously doubt there's anything different about promoted links. I know I have a promoted links list already right here. Nope, nothing. Anything I missed? I don't think. Those are all just sort of the basic types of lists people create: calendars, tasks, documents. Has anybody ever tried creating the alert on the filtered view and you have questions about it? I've seen some wonkiness with that, with sort of, having a filtered view and someone changes something that's not, it's not already in the filtered view. So when they change it, it becomes part of the filter view, and there was some awkwardness about that because supposedly they didn't just appear in that since it just appeared in the filtered view, it didn't send an alert because technically it wasn't something in the filtered view that had changed. So I'll go create an alert on a filtered view real quick. Oops, not email a link. Okay, set an alert, and I'll just say AdventureWorks. All changes, and then just someone changes an item that appears in this view. All right, so that's my view, and so my AdventureWorks contract, technically if I change that, that should send me that alert. Now I'm going to go delete my other AdventureWorks alerts that I created, just so I don't get completely confused here, because I would receive like multiple ones, right? So that one and that one, I'm going to go ahead and delete those. And there's my AdventureWorks view one. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my customer files, and I'm going to change something that already appears in the AdventureWorks filtered view, and then I'm going to change something to make it appear in that view. Does that make sense? So let's see. Edit properties. There. It already appears in the view. And then I'm going to go find another file And then this one says Contoso contract. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go edit the properties and make it so that it has AdventureWorks in here, which would put it in the AdventureWorks view. And by the way, I'm not sure if we're having Power Hour next week because I'll be teaching my Power User class, so it's kind of up to if anybody else is free, so I'm not sure. All right, so now it's still called Contoso Contract, but since I added AdventureWorks, it now shows in this view. I'm going to take something that's in this view and edit it so that it goes to a different view, so that it's not in the AdventureWorks filtered view anymore. And so I'm doing sort of the opposite now. So I'll go change that one to Contoso. All right, so let's check out those, see if I get the emails yet. So that's just the alert that I created, AdventureWorks view. And then this is the one that I just edited. So it says AdventureWorks view, and then it shows me the name of the file. So it is definitely sending me emails about the stuff that falls into that AdventureWorks filtered view. So I just don't, I don't have to wait 5 minutes to see if it's going to send the other ones. So, any other common questions or confusions that y'all know of that people have about alerts? Users creating lots of them and not knowing how to change them is usually my experience. Could somebody have an alert on something and not have access to it? Maybe they create an alert and then someone takes away their permission. They could still be getting alert to something and they click on it and they can't get to it. You think that's, I guess that could happen, right? Because an alert is not going to turn itself off. Let's see, let me stop my screen sharing. Stop sharing. Did I stop? Yeah, I stopped sharing. Okay. I'm going to go grab that URL to my blog post that I mentioned about the filtered views, and I'm going to go, let's see, got this one. I'll put it in the little showcase panel over here on the right. Okay, so there's my blog post, alerts based on filtered views, and I know that I was actually doing a search. What gave me this idea was I was doing alerts. I was doing a search for just some basic out of the box, just Microsoft information on alerts, and there were a couple of things that I found just you know, online that having to do with maybe some Office 365, just those generic Office help files. But it had a lot more information than necessarily just a typical end user would need to have when they just want to read about how to create them and what to do with them. It had just a ton of extra information that to me would confuse an end user, I think. But there is a little bit of just out of the box, just Microsoft's just regular Office help site that you can go to. All right, let's see. Any other questions? All right. I'm not sure what the Power Hour is going to be next week. Y'all are dwindling down. I could see the viewers dropping. Okay. I didn't get any of the other emails from those other ones that I edited in the AdventureWorks that it edited to show it in the view, so it became part of the view. I did not get the email for that, so that was kind of one of the buggy things that I thought I remembered being an issue. So that's what did not happen with that one. And again, we're every Wednesday at 11 Central, and we'll see you guys next time, or maybe not next week if nobody can do it, so I'm teaching my training class. Over and out.